Welcome back to the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast. We're crossing that land back over to the extreme world of wrestling. We have had such ones like Shane Douglas. We've crossed over and spoke to him before. We've also spoke to Just Incredible before, amongst others. Now we're starting with a trifecta of ECW names, beginning with, well, the person that, if it wasn't for this man, there wouldn't be an ECW to begin with for us to celebrate and watch over the years. And that is Mr. Tod Gordon. Welcome to the show.
Pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And how was your Thanksgiving?
Very, very nice. But I have a question for you first.
Go.
Did you look cheap by having Shane come on? Because you ask him one question and the whole hour's over.
I had to have it into two parts. Actually, what but not it's not because of the way he answered the question, but what I like about Shane, just quickly side noting it, what I love about Shane is he's got this photographic memory where he can take you back to that arena, wherever we're talking about, he can take you to it. He'll tell you where the locker rooms are, where the restrooms are, where a vending machine was, and he puts all that effort into an answer. So it's worth two parts just for that.
I think he spent 45 minutes telling you what his Thanksgiving was.
He didn't spend. It wasn't Thanksgiving at the time when
Okay.
I had Shane. Actually, funnily enough, but we had a great chat, and the ECW ones have been great. Actually, just incredible. Devon Dudley as well has been on. We spoke a bit of ECW about with him. But just quickly, Todd, before we get to ECW,
Devon Dudley has 6 kids,
he does.
6 children.
He
Why
does.
was Bubba saying, Devon, get the rubbers?
I remember, and this is not a Devon Dudley song, but I do remember Jim Cornette once saying about not once saying about Tony Schiavone that he's got enough coming in to shampoo a buffalo. Which with one of his shoot interviews he had with Sean Oliver, who you've actually been with before, and I know obviously the books and stuff, and I had Sean Oliver on as well. He's a great guy as well. But going,
Sean's awesome.
yeah, Sean's great. He's a great guy. It's great having him on. But before we even get to ECW, I don't know how much wrestling, if you do watch it now. When I watch it, obviously, and we see this sort of the hardcore that we see now on TV, and I always sort of have there with a little smile on my face, and I go, "Well, we saw it better." But well, we didn't really see it very much over in the UK. But we had to wait for videos and stuff to come out before we could see it. But do you watch it and sometimes it would smile, and it's as if to say, this is really us, but just a watered down version of what we did back in the day.
Well, I don't think of it that way so much as I like to be proud of the fact that I feel like we changed the business. I mean,
Yes.
we made acceptable TV. We made that acceptable in arenas and everywhere around the country. And I get more turned on by the fact that they're still yelling ECW at their shows, and it's 30 years later. That's absolutely mind-boggling to me.
It is. It's crazy because obviously when it was the ECW, it got to a point, and I'm going to get to another point with one of the questions that I got asked in. But you know, the fact that it garnered so much from the fans, and as you say, you still hear ECW to the. I mean, I heard a chant over in the UK of ECW at an independent show when we
That's
were
amazing.
doing this. It's crazy, isn't it? But is it weird how, like, not saying ECW was a small promotion by any stretch, but the fact that a promotion that didn't say get to the heights of WWE, but has kind of had a longer lasting effect with an audience and appreciation from the audience more so. That must fill you with pride as well.
It does, and it's like I said, it's amazing. And we were a small company for the
Yeah.
most part. Did we get the pay-per-view and do we have a weekly show? Yes, but believe it or not, we were still a small company. Everything was done, week to week, month to month, hand to mouth. It was, we were always fighting to like stay alive. And to feel that 30 years later, people now when they yell it or say it, what they're saying is, we like this. That's what they're saying when they say ECW. They're not going, oh, ECW is hardcore, like that's hardcore. They're going, yeah, ECW, we like that. They're getting excited. That brought that emotion out of them. So they're saying, we when we say we like something, we're saying ECW because we really appreciate what you guys did and how hard you worked. And they worked so damn hard. It was unbelievable. And that means the world to me today. And the fact that I can sit here and people even talk about it 30 years later, let alone it's such a mainstream kind of thing, is incredible to me.
It is. It's amazing. It's amazing to see and hear still to this day. Obviously, I think it was 92. You brought the Joel Goodhart's shares or the half of the company over from what was then. Obviously, you had the East and you had TSW. Did you ever envisage at that?
What is TSW?
Tri-State Wrestling was
Oh,
what.
okay, Tri-State. Yeah, I was a silent partner with Tri-State
Yeah,
when he went bankrupt, and that's when I started Eastern out of that.
exactly. You did indeed. When you did that, did you have? I mean, obviously, in an idea, if you could had a crystal ball, and you could have, could you have ever envisaged going back? When you started it, then having the success that you did have, and everything that come in between it.
My goal was to run a show once a month, or in Philly, maybe once a month in Jersey or Delaware, the tri-state area, basically Eastern area. I mean, a little show. It was just something that was like a hobby, and never expected to grow into an actual business, let alone a business that was growing so quickly. It was like a snowball going downhill. I mean, you couldn't stop it. It was just out of control. Each week, it was more and more people. There were more and more people from Japan buying our videotapes and going, how do they even know about us in Japan? They barely know us in New Jersey. I mean, it was crazy. And it just kept going, building and building. But I never had any expectation or any even thought of along the lines of trying to make it on that kind of level.
Yeah. It goes, it's crazy how big that it got and how much of a cult following. I mean, you had a rabid fan base in America. There's no doubt about that.
And they were part of the show.
Yeah.
You see the same faces
Yeah.
every week. They're the same guys. Today, you see them either as wrestlers, those same people, the fans. You see one, Tony Khan. You see him now. He was in our audience. He was in the audience. There are all these people in our audience, and then they became part of the business later on. Mike Johnson, who has his website, PW Insider, which is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Front row every show. I mean, it's amazing how many people got spurred to go into the business from being our regulars. I think that's really cool.
That is incredible to know. And yeah, Tony Khan and all that people who went there, watched it, and now to this day are in wrestling. We do need to go switch gears to September of '93. And this was a time when a certain guy from WCW got fired. And he was someone that was going to be very well, he was very close to you, and he was again another one of the forefront members of ECW eventually. That was Paul Heyman. Did you ever expect when you brought Paul in '93 to go on this wild crusade that you went on together?
Oddly enough, I didn't bring Paul in. Eddie
No.
Gilbert.
Yes.
Eddie Gilbert brought Paul in. He was my booker back then. I never met Paul or knew anything from Paul. And that's when I got to meet him when he was just working the interviews and doing, managing Eddie Gilbert and Morocco and Snuka and Doug Gilbert. That was his group there.
Mm.
And as we got to know each other better and better, we had a lot of similarities in our backgrounds, and we just became more and more friendly. Never thinking for a second we were going to eventually be partners one day. When he was doing all this, he was getting ready to leave with Jim Crockett and start another promotion, which apparently never got off the ground, which is how I ended up staying in ECW. But no, I never would have guessed that. But we just had a lot of fun together. We made each other laugh. And if we made each other laugh, we knew we could make the audience laugh. Whatever we were talking, on the phone, we would say, how about this? How about Geronimo Dudley? How about this Dudley? Well, we just kept coming up with Dudleys until we were throwing up. We're laughing so hard. Some of the bizarre names that didn't make it, I wanted to tell you. But we had things from Big Dick all the way down. We had every kind of Dudley there was going to be. And they were just humor. We always tried to inject humor in with the violence and in with the mat wrestlings we had with Guerrero, Malenko, Benoit, and that kind of thing. And we always had the hardcore stuff and the humor. We had to have the humor because we both had big senses of humor.
Yeah, you had to have the BWOs and people.
Absolutely. And the Public Enemy in their own way.
Yeah, the Public Enemy. Yeah, Public Enemy as well in their own way. It was incredible. I mean, obviously we see Paul Heyman now in a totally different light with what he's doing. And when I watch ECW, even nowadays, I still grab the old. My son's into wrestling a little bit, and I say to him, we see some of this stuff on the TV, and I was like, look, let me show you something. Here, I pull out a DVD, and you've got Sandman walking to the ring with Metallica smashing the thing over his head. You've got going for it. So that was what what I was watching in when I was growing up.
Damon, I mean, obviously Undertaker, but those are the two best entrances, in my opinion, in the sport wrestling. But they're not singing along with the Undertaker. Everybody's saying he gets a building of thousands of people to sing him to the ring. His opponents that would have to stand there for 5 or 6 minutes, miserable, because he's doing the whole building. We're getting in that ring. And you don't like it, tough shit. That's who Sandman is. He's going to go all the way through to make you wait for him to get in the ring.
Yeah.
He's like one of my very best friends in the world. I was with him yesterday.
It was crazy. I remember he'd done an independent show over here in the UK. There's a place called Doncaster, which is in Yorkshire, a little bit further, a little bit away from Manchester. And we were in like we bought a VIP tickets for the show. We was in like a box, and as we've come out just to go to the toilet before his match, he's there drinking
Oh,
a
yeah.
beer, smoking back. He's got his kendo stick, you know.
I mean, even in the old days, before the shows, like everyone would turn around, let's get over this, let's go over. Where the fuck's Sandman? He's out hanging out, drinking beer and smoking cigarettes with the fans out in front of the building. He's just having a party. He was having every day's a party to that guy. He's the best.
It was interesting because I was looking back through the archives, and it wasn't always that type of Sandman though. He was also like a surfer style, wasn't he? Early doors.
When I first met him, his gimmick was a surfer. Yeah, he came out on a surfboard, Peaches, his wife, total wetsuit, and the gimmick got over like a fart in church was horrible. People just hated the gimmick. And one day I was just sitting there with Paul, and I said, "We got to do something with Sandman because, like, no, he's not going anywhere. He's staying here. We got to figure out a way to make this guy get over." Here's what I'm thinking: in real life, this guy is a barroom brawler. He's the kind of guy that sits in the bar drinking beer all night, goes to play a game of pool, and somewhere or other. Next thing you know, they're hitting each other with cues, and that's just who the guy is. It's nothing to do with how wonderful a guy is. That's just who he was. And I said, let him be himself. Let him come out in his work shirt and his jeans and his boots and his smoking a cigarette and drinking a beer. And Paul said, "You can't do that." I said, "Why not?" Because you can't have a guy smoking one in the ring. Again, I said, "Why not?" He said, "Okay, we'll try it." Well, that cigarette, that beer turned him into a cult hero. You know, the beer Austin took from him, he acknowledged that. That was his gimmick that Austin stole. Not stole, but used, borrowed, whatever. And the cigarette, like, I don't think anybody still has done that to this day. Walk out to the ring smoking cigarettes, or during the match smoking cigarettes. That was insane.
Yeah, it was
Just
crazy.
so differently. So Paul didn't want to do it. I talked to him to do it. I said, "We're doing it." He did it. But he took that ball. He had the idea to now go back to TV. And if you notice, every time Sandman was on TV from that point on, at least for the first few months, he was always in black and white.
Mm.
The whole show was in color, except for Sandman. His interviews were in black and white, matches were in black and white, and the visual effect of the smoke coming up in the black and white, it was amazing how smart Paul was with that kind of stuff. And it helped elevate this character. But yeah, NWO took that. They came out in black. And it's like everything we started, eventually, that's okay. But it all became bigger and bigger with other people. But yeah, the beard, the black and white, that was Sandman.
I think I always say that Sandman was the person that we sung the wrestling song before the singing the wrestling song was cool.
Right. 100% correct.
Yeah, I loved it. I used to love singing the Metallica and the Sandman song. Obviously, when every time you're on these shows, you always get asked about the one big particular moment which kind of put ECW on the map, and that was obviously the moment that Shane threw that title belt on the floor, the NWA title belt on the floor. I spoke to Shane about it, and he was like, he kind of said he didn't have any reservations. He was asked to do it. He was going to do it. How long was those conversations did you have about actually that particular moment? Was they brief? Were they long? Would you go in to and fro to do it? Or is it just, we're doing it?
What happened was another promoter in the NWA, Dennis Carluzo, and Jim Crockett's in the NWA, and whoever the else may have been there, like 5-6 guys. Then Crockett approached us. "You're the only person with TV in the NWA. None of us have TV. We'd like to have a champion that can go from place to place. And if not, maybe a tag team champion. We'd like you can elevate us, etc. Would you do this for us?" I said, "Well, I'm not going to send my champion. He's going to be ours. He's not going to be Ric Flair going town to town for other promotions. But sure, I'll do a tournament." And we got some big names and spent some good money on guys from Japan and brought Malenko in for the very first time. So we put this whole thing, Scorpio, True Gold Scorpio, we put together some name talent. And all of a sudden, this guy's hitting the sheets, the dirt sheets, and he's going, "I didn't approve this, and I'm going to block it. It's not going to happen." I said, "We didn't go to him. They came to us. Now, why did Buster? I assume when Jim Crockett says to me, "Would you do this for us?" He's speaking for all of them.
Yeah.
This guy decided he wasn't speaking for all of them, and he had been a thorn in our side really almost from day one. He was a rival promoter at the beginning, who started out the way I did, doing small shows. Only he stayed that way, and we kept growing and growing. And he had a lot of resentment. So he was always trying to cause problems at our shows, calling the fire marshal, have him come in and count heads, just whatever it was just a royal pain in the ass. And then he did this whole thing with trying to block the show if we put all this money invested in it. Again, after being asked to. So once we came to the decision to do it, I had no reservations about it. He had it coming. No. As far as Shane doing it, that was just that I did say, hey, this is our breakaway moment. This is how we could go from being local Eastern champ to a national company, which is what our goal was at that point now. We've grown enough to say to ourselves, people dig this. It's obvious they dig it, but they're really into it like crazy. That's a small sampling. What happens when we get larger? Let's go national. Let's go make it extreme. Let's change the whole, the whole game. And there was no hesitation at all.
No, and it was certainly something that it certainly put it on the map. That's for sure. Regardless of what rightly or wrong or whatever we want to say, it was done, and that was the kind of the birth of Extreme. There was one fact that I read. We're going to start throughout this conversation. I'm going to just do little facts that I've picked up. And I don't know if they're true or false, but I read it in 1995. Apparently, there was conversations of bringing Vader to ECW and having him actually lose to Taz, and it was something that he wasn't keen on. But was conversations with Vader ever happening?
Absolutely never happened.
No,
never had a conversation with him. No,
never had a conversation with him.
First of all, Vader and Too Cold Scorpio are best friends.
Yeah,
at Scorpion in Japan, he was like his. They were work together. They were like boys. Never would we brought him into the job to Taz. If we could have brought him in, shit, I'd have pushed the shit out of him. Are you kidding me? I mean, this guy was a monster. He fit in perfectly there. But he was a lot of money and B not interested. Really, I mean, we never really went after him, but Scorpio would talk to him. We were his friends, and really at that point he was really not wrestling anywhere. Pretty much, he just was done. And we said, all right, we respect that. But I've never once ever had a conversation with Lou DePaul, certainly about putting Taz over.
There we go. So that's one fact online that you read that's not true. So there you go. There you go. I want to talk rivalries a second with ECW because it was synonymous with amazing rivalries and captivating rivalries. One in particular I really love is Dreamer and Raven was amazing. It told a story. It was incredible. How did those conversations begin and how did it get set up between Dreamer and Raven?
It started with Dreamer and Sandman. That was his first major feud. With one of the greatest angles I think of our promotion's time, which was the blinding of Sandman.
Yes.
That was just intense. I mean, we were just driving somewhere, to New York. Me, Francine, and Sandman were doing a convention in New York a couple of weeks ago. We were just talking about that angle and how the intensity of it still this day resonates with everybody, including ourselves. I mean, everybody in the business, the boys in the back, the writers, all thought he was blind. I mean, it really worked that well because we did things that hadn't been done before. Like, I'm in the locker room. He's blind, laying on the floor, and I'm calling him Jim. I've never called him Jim in my life. No one's ever called him Jim in his life, ever. He's been hacked since he was like 5 years old. We're Sandman as an adult. But Jim, that's his real name, but no one's ever called him that before. The whole locker room area scene, and we got him out of there, and he literally didn't answer a phone call. He didn't come out of his house for 2 months. So it was just a show. We did one show a month. The arena, 2 months, no one had heard from him. My phone's ringing off the hook. How's he doing? How's he doing? No, really. You can tell me. How's he doing? How do you think he's doing? He's home, he's miserable. So that angle that night, yeah, that was pretty cool. I remember walking him out through the front door, actually, with a towel around his eyes, screaming, is there an ophthalmologist in the house? There wasn't an ophthalmologist with 100 miles in ECW arena in the house. Are you kidding me? What? An ophthalmologist? I didn't know where that came from. But yeah, I mean, that was one of the better selling jobs we all did, and no one knew. And got him out of there. He would not come to the phone, talk to anybody. It was that and the Gary Wolf angle with a broken neck.
Mhm.
Shane.
Oh
That
yeah,
was
yeah,
Gary that boy used to, legitimately broke his neck and had screws in
yeah,
there, like four in his head, and had
yeah.
to live 6 or 8 weeks. And the hospital he was seeing his doctor was directly across the street from my store.
Mm.
So he'd always come in and hang out, whatever the case may be. He walks in one day and he goes, "Guess what?" I go, and he goes, "It's off." He takes it. I go, "That is great." I'm hugging him. It's awesome, Gary. I went, ding, 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 ding. His light bulbs went off my head. I said, "Do you mind, like, still wearing it?" He goes, "What? Are you fucking kidding me? Still wearing it?" Dude, I slept in a bed. I go, "No, not at home. But if you ever leave the house and you have to, could you just wear it outside of the house? I've got this brilliant idea." He's, "All right, go ahead." I go, "Hang on." And I call Paulie up. I go, "Hey, guess who's here?" And I'm telling him, "How about this idea?" He's losing his mind. He's like, "Oh, what do I do with it?" So he's trying to come up with a thing to use for the angle. And then he decided it's got to be Shane. So he came over to do it with Shane. And oh, man, it was so good. Gary, he put his hand in his pocket so that when he fell, he couldn't think, he wouldn't brace himself to make it look like a work.
Yeah.
So it's so real when he fell. But he couldn't protect himself. He just fell like a cripple. And they went into that crowd. And they went after Shane. They're coming to the ropes. All like he was lucky to get out of there alive that night. This
Yeah.
is a smart crowd. It's not a dumb crowd that they went for that. And the same, and there were two angles that they just ate up. Just like that. It would be a beautiful thing.
It was, and those two angles itself actually was, it's a separate to the one that we were talking about. But as you said, the Dreamer Raven one started with the Sandman.
Right.
Uh,
So I'm sorry. Dreamer and Raven. Okay. So now Dreamer's done with Sam and the angles, played out basically. I think Raven was the one who came up with the idea of bringing the girls into it. It was
mm,
just the next opponent, so to speak. And Dreamer was the big baby face, and Raven was a big heel. So it's a good matchup to put out there. And then Raven, who's like so smart, it's ridiculous. And
yeah.
if you don't believe me, you ask him.
Mm,
No, I said, if you don't believe me, just ask him.
yeah.
Or in other words, I'll tell you how smart he is. Anyway, forget that. It went over
Yeah.
your head. Anyway, yeah, Raven is actually really smart.
Yeah.
And just kept adding people to it. It came up first Beulah, then come on Leia, or wherever girl he met the nightclub the night before. Whoever he found that day, that's the next person in the angle. Then he brought it, and he made it turn into Steve. And Steve became Meanie. We got the third guy. What's the matter with me? Meanie, Stevie, and
Simon Diamond, wasn't it? BWO?
no, God,
Oh,
you're killing me. He's gonna kill me for this. Jesus God, Holly doing Hollywood Hulk Hogan.
oh, that was oh,
Bucci, Mike Bucci,
Mike Bucci. Yes.
Nova, Nova. Jesus God, Nova.
Nova. Yes, Nova.
Wow, Stevie had got Meanie in
Yep.
Nova. Just kept going. It just kept going on and on and on and on. And that's Scotty. The more people he brought in, the less bumps he had to take. They don't for him. That's how smart he was. And yeah, that whole evolved into this great feud with him and Dreamer. And what was it, 2 years before Dreamer beat him for the first time?
Yeah.
He lost he beat him to death and yet lost every single match. He never beat him. And the more we thought about it, the more we liked that. And Dreamer is just like Sandman that way. They're both very cool, and they both say, "Hey, I can get my heat back. Let me put the guy over. I don't ever have to win." Every week, we have the same. I don't want to go over. Who says I don't want to go over? Everybody wants to go over that business. They're both like, "No, I don't want to go over. I
That's
just want to tell a story. I want to do this or that, that kind of thing."
that's incredible. Yeah, you are right because there's some people that literally just don't want to do that or put them over. But there was a lot of stuff like that in the past,
Guys,
which is great. Which is great for both of those. But yeah, bless you. Incredible moments in ECW.
I was joking with you. I said Taz.
Oh, Taz. Yeah.
That's the chew.
Get it. I was
And
mid-sentence. Yeah. I'm hoping he's healing up, by the way, from his knee surgery that he had. Another name that everyone talks about with ECW is RVD. And again, he kind of broke. He was kind of a mold of both. Like he had that extreme aspect to it, but he was also the side you could put him in there with, like the super crazies, the Malenkos, the Guerreros, the Mysterios, because he had that cruiserweight mentality. He was kind of like an embodiment of what you had. If you had an all-round ECW guy, it was Van Dam.
he and Scorpio both.
Yes.
They could brawl, they could high fly,
Yeah.
mat wrestle, they could do any acrobatic. I mean, they could do they could work with anybody and have a good match. I mean, Van Dam, when he worked with Sandman and Dreamer, I mean, whoever it was, he was always he worked with Sabu against him, not only with it. He was an amazing athlete.
Yeah. Van Dam was
He's
incredible.
still pretty amazing. He still does the thing with the legs on the chair, just completely split, where you kind of like go, ow, just watching him do it. It's like, oh man, killing me.
He really
But
does.
I just saw him at WrestleMania week down here, the WrestleCon.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, he was out there recently as well, wasn't he, Van Damme? And he's been back doing WWE and AEW since as well over the last year or so. And he's still got it. The guy's just, I don't know, he's just incredible talent. Was crazy. Another one name that I have to again when people talk ECW, they always say New Jack and the Gangsters. My God, that's
Yeah,
just
people want to say they're hardcore or this or that. New Jack was hardcore.
yeah,
Just stand somebody hit you with a pane of glass like they do with these other federations today, where they say like, "Oh, now we're hardcore." That's not what made you hardcore. New Jack was a guy you went in the ring with. And you thought like, I wonder if he's really gonna shoot him. I mean, like taking that freaking knife out of his pocket and slit my throat. I mean, he was a nut, but he was a great guy too. Funny as hell. Um, Very sensitive in his own way. But boy, if you wronged him, watch out.
yeah.
Play.
He's and another one that had the music that was literally playing through the match a lot of the time.
Yeah, yes, yes, yes. That was absolutely hell. Well, Sandman's music didn't play through the
No,
match
he just took
for
long to get.
5 minutes before the match.
Yeah,
See what they did for New Jack because the crowd would get so up for him to come out with weapons and this and that that when he turned the music off, it was like he took the air out of the crowd.
mm.
Keep that music with him dancing in the ring as he's whipping the shit, killing people. It just worked. So we said, let's go with it. Let's stay with it. And we kept that music going every time the Gangsters had a match. And
Yeah,
played the match till the end of the match. And
yeah,
it seemed to add something to that match. And it was something different. We love things that were different. If they didn't work, they didn't work, but we tried different stuff. Like, let's try this, let's try that. And most of the time it worked.
yeah. It did. It actually did. And trying different stuff just did work. A lot of the time, I don't recall a lot of stuff didn't. Maybe the one, I suppose, when we talk about names in ECW, maybe the one that perhaps got away due to a potential angle was Kurt Angle. He was there. He was at a ECW show, and you done I think it was a crucifix angle, if I remember correctly.
Absolutely correct. It was Raven and Sandman, crucifix angle, and he lost his mind. He was just getting ready to come into the business, so he hadn't made
Yeah.
a deal yet. Shane got him to come down. They're both from Pittsburgh to the show, and he lost his mind. I think we overreacted to him losing his mind, and it's one of my very few regrets I ever had. Was letting him influence us enough to have Scotty Raven go out and apologize for the angle, and it was so out of character for him. None of it made sense, and he didn't come work for us anyway.
Yeah.
In fact, if I'm on if I'm on tape, you show me on tape, I'm going to sue you because I'm not giving permission to use my likeness. But it was a pain in the balls, and yeah, we should never let him make that kind of impact. But he was a guy that he had gold medal at his neck. You would have liked to have had him in your federation. You know what I'm saying? He turned
Yeah.
out to be a work.
He was. He did. And he technically did join ECW later on, but in a very bad version of it, which was in the WWE version of ECW. He did. Yeah, exactly that. Exactly that. We're not even going to go there on this
That's the
one.
little rascals out back saying, let's put on a show.
Yeah. Exactly. We're not even going to go to the old WWE ECW. That's not what we're going to talk about on there. That's for sure. I wanted to go to like another name potentially, and again, this is probably not right, but I read about it again earlier on today actually. And this was in back in '92, and this was quite. I was quite surprised when I read the story because I was like, I could never see it ever happen. And the name that come up was someone else was the British Bulldog. A name was that ever anyone ever close or anything ever happened there?
The British Bulldog was, I guess, working independent at that point. He was in between stints with the WWE. And again, we had not grown to the TV stage yet, which is why I see him on TV. And we just showed a school somewhere in Newark, New Jersey, somewhere around there. And we came up with the main event of 100 Jimmy Superfly Snuka against the British Bulldog. We brought him in. I managed him that night, and Hunter Q. Robbins, the third, managed Snuka. And I had no business being a ringside, but they said you got to come out there because he wants somebody there to like. He feels like you're the owner. Like he doesn't want strangers next to him, so you can be trusted. Okay, So I went out there. I met second British Bulldog. It was the only time he worked for us.
Hmm.
He was a baby face, and he went over. And like I said, I had no business being out there. It's like early on Eastern.
Yeah.
I still took a leg under the. Oh, by the way, I love Jimmy Snuka. And I still remember laying under the ropes going, hit me, stupid. I'm like, what? Oh, okay. Because I forgot. So I'm like watching the match, like staying in ringside going, this is awesome. It's like like a fan of the front row. Yeah, Jimmy was phenomenal. But Bulldog did work for us at one show, yeah.
He did work the one shot. That is a true story, people. Bulldog
Yes.
was in ECW. I'm glad that some of these are true. I'd wasted
What
time. Got one true and one false so far. I say I'm glad one got in because otherwise I would have been certainly would have wasted my time. So Bulldog was in ECW, at least one particular show. Another name that everyone again you've spoken about him already. Tommy Dreamer is the name. I mean, again, you sort of have if you have a dictionary and who's going to be ECW, it'd be him. I remember I'm sure was he getting whipped or something and one and he was like, I want please sir, I want some more when he kind of changed into that the innovator of violence and that. But he was just a guy that I just he just wanted to be kind of like the pretty boy initially, and then he changed and ECW was his home. It was like his home.
he came in and didn't understand the first of all the Philly crowd,
Mm.
which was the heel. Philadelphia is a heel town. It always has been. And it
Yeah.
always will be. They like the guy in football who leaves the guy laying on his back on the field as much as they like the guy scoring the touchdown. They like the heel more than they like the baby face. Tommy came out trying to be the pretty boy, the poofy hair, the long flowing robe, and I said, "Man, they're gonna shit all over this guy," and they shit all over him. Now he's a good guy. He's one of Paulie's like bullies. Paulie wants to get him over. He's dying there. He's getting killed. They came up and did him, turn him hardcore. And he did the match with the Angle Sandman. Singapore loser gets caned 10 times with a Singapore cane, which is very relevant at the time because that's when the Singapore cane was being used in Singapore to whip that kid who stole something or
Yeah.
this. So he brought the Singapore cane. He hit him 10 times with it. And yeah, he said, I'm out there with a microphone saying, Tommy, stop. That's enough. That's enough. And he's going, no, Todd, get away. Please, sir, I'd like another. And he took those 10 wet lashes. And you can see the video. I mean, you can't fake it. Look at the video. His back looks like somebody took a knife to him, a machete. I mean, he got destroyed that night. I hate to even watch it. It was like hard to watch.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, sure enough, it all started to turn around going, Tommy's hardcore. People don't take beatings like that or the pretty boys. You know what I'm saying? And he turned his whole career around there. And man, they loved him for that. And the funny thing is, one of the things I said in my book about him was Tommy became so well liked in the locker room as years went on. They took more and more responsibility on that. If you had the wrestlers vote for a team captain, they would have voted Tommy Dreamer team captain of the ECW.
Yeah, he was, and he was just epitomized everything. The heart and soul. I think he was like a heart and soul of ECW. Was kind of Tommy Dreamer. He was that guy.
93 or 94, Mr. Gordon. I would die for this company. I went, okay, calm down, like, relax. But he would have, said, then let's do the Daffy Duck bump. If you don't know what that is, Cactus Jack once, after he'd done everything, he said to me, as we said to us, like, the only thing left is the Daffy Duck bump. What's the Daffy Duck bump? You know Bugs Bunny?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, we're cartoon. Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck are trying to outdo each other to get into the circus and stuff, whatever it was. And they do one thing after another, and finally Daffy Duck eats explosives and blows himself up. And Bugs and the other guy going, "Bravo, bravo!" And he's floating away. And he goes, "Yeah, but I can only do it once." And he floats away. That was like the Daffy Duck bump. Like he was willing to do that.
He would have done as well. And Mick Foley is another name. I mean, obviously, he's done some crazy stuff, obviously, away from ECW as well. I mean, obviously, synonymous from the Hell in the Cell bump in the WWE. But he was another one. I think like him, Steve Austin, and there was a few other guys that really actually honed in on their talents in ECW. And perhaps people that know Stone Cold Steve Austin may not have remembered him dressing up as Hulk Hogan in ECW.
We let him go.
Yeah.
Like, are you sure? We said, dude, he was so hostile towards Eric Bischoff in WCW at the
Yeah.
time. As was Cactus when he came over,
Yep.
Foley. They just were so miserable in that experience with Bischoff in the WCW that they just wanted to get out of their systems. And we said, hey, go. He put Black Widow on to beat Bischoff because he got fired over the phone.
Yeah.
He was like a piece of garbage and never respected how good he was in the ring. He was a technician in the ring. When he got to WWE, it didn't take long before he got hurt enough that he had to just do the brawl, sprawl, and drink the beer. But before that, he was a top-notch wrestler. I mean, he and Pillman were amazing together.
Yeah.
Pillman's another one in ECW for a while there.
Yeah.
Just a lot of people walked through those doors that people didn't realize. Like a Pillman, like in Austin. A lot of people came through that door over the course of the years.
Yeah. Scott Hall did as well once, didn't he, for a show?
One time in Florida, yeah.
Yeah. I remember he came out to the Fugees with one of my favorite songs, Ready or Not. I remember it. I love the Fugees. That was a great song. I used to love that. Going back now, as a question actually, one of my listeners rung in, and listeners didn't ring in, sorry, they emailed in, and it said like, obviously we know that you obviously you left in '97, but they were saying at the time when the fall off of WCW started to happen, obviously Russo come in, Bischoff, it was falling apart. Do you believe at that point, even though you may not have necessarily been there, was there a chance that ECW could have perhaps had got to a level of not necessarily money wise, but competing with WCW in terms of, look, they're falling off, we're going in the right direction? Could they have overtaken at one point WCW?
Sure, if we had Ted Turner's money.
Yeah, yeah.
In a New York second, if we had Ted Turner's money. I mean, we're literally like, going, oh God, the next pay per view, how are we going to pay for that? We haven't paid for this one. It was like, it was a challenge. When you do a pay per view, you got to put X amount of money up front, hundreds of thousands of dollars up front. You don't get paid for your pay per view until like a month or so after the pay per view.
Right.
And the next pay per view to happen, you got to pay that up front. The next pay per view, it was impossible to maintain.
Yeah, that was incredible. I mean, that's mad to have to pay, especially with like, as you say, you haven't got Ted Turner's or Vince McMahon's money, and you're having to pay up front for these shows to put on, and then you don't know if you're going to draw a house, let alone, you would have done, but the bottom line, you didn't know it at the time.
Well, we knew we'd draw a house, but drawing a crowd for a pay per view is a whole different story.
Yeah,
I mean, we were known in Iowa and Wisconsin and a lot of the states where everybody's watching WWF and WCW. I mean, we weren't even put on TV there. Maybe we were some cable channel like 4 a.m. I don't know, but there's no way we could draw enough to be able to keep ourselves afloat. Now, guess what? There's no internet then.
Nope.
If there had been internet when I was running ECW, I'd have been our house shows that we sold the VHS copies of, as we made them $2 a show. We'd have had 100,000 people watching that show every month.
Definitely. There's no doubt. Streaming was available back now. Streaming. It would have.
Wow.
Yeah.
Could have never ever run out of money if that was the case.
Yeah, exactly.
Now,
I would have.
there's no internet yet.
No,
I
there
mean,
wasn't.
I'm doing a Prodigy. There's going to go Prodigy chat with a guy named Bob Ryder.
Yeah.
I didn't know what I was doing. I said, I don't understand. I'm talking, but you say people are hearing me. You just, yes, all over. They can hear you anywhere. I go, I don't. I mean, I didn't even understand yet. The whole concept of the internet was so new and so fresh. Yeah, had we been able to stream or something like that, we would never gone out of business.
No, definitely not. To give you an idea of how difficult it was over here, we had to watch it a month behind. It was on a TV channel over here called, it's now defunct channel, called Bravo. And it used to be on at like 3 a.m. And it were like, so we had to watch, so we would like come in from a night out and be like, we need to get, we actually got to a point where we was going out to like pubs and clubs and that, and then look at our watch going, we got to get back soon. ECW's coming on. So we would come back, get our
You
food and go.
you would get the weekly TV show.
I don't know if it was weekly. It wasn't weekly. It was like a month. Say it was a month behind. It was. I don't even know if it was. If it was a weekly show or something. It was. Oh no, it was definitely ECW, and it was literally. We would literally say, right, we need to go and get our burgers or our kebabs or whatever we was getting. Leave the pub because ECW started in an hour. We want to get home and watch it. So
That's awesome, and that kind of passion you're displaying right now. That means more to us, all of us. Everybody who performed there than you'll ever know, because that passion is what that fueled us.
yeah, we
And
were
these guys got staples in the back of their head, and then came back the next week and wrestled again because your passion, the fans' passion, they fueled that whole company.
Yeah, I mean the fans were they definitely those. I mean every fan did, but I mean those especially those hardcore lot that were there were just incredible. I mean, I remember the one night stand. I know I didn't want to talk about the WWE version, but I wanted to talk about it briefly because they went crazy when those guys showed up in the Bischoff and everyone. I was like, are they absolutely sure they want to do that? Because it could have gone well, it could have gone, isn't it? They were rabid then, and it was like I was not a fan. I was worried, but I was like, there could be a riot here.
Well, they kept them separated in that box,
Yeah,
and they had like enough of them there, including the big JBLs and
yeah,
the big boys there, and just to make sure things didn't get out of hand. But thank God they didn't. I was not there for that one. I was actually doing another show for at the Philadelphia Arena that night
mm,
or that weekend for another homecoming show. Francine, I think, put that together.
yeah.
And remember Terry Funk saying, yeah, he wanted to work the ECW show in the arena. He wouldn't work the WWE ECW show. And that meant a lot. Steve Austin, Terry Funk was like God to me.
Mm. Yeah, he was great. I was going to say he was the next name I was going to talk about. Terry Funk in ECW. He was
Really.
just amazing. He was doing moonsaults at 60 years old, for Christ's sake.
Yes, he was. And you know what? God bless him. He wrote the forward to my book. That meant
Yeah.
so much. I've never seen him write a forward to anybody else's book. That meant the world to me. Terry Funk, I'm so indebted to him. Without him, you don't know who Shane Douglas is. You don't know who Sabu is. You don't know who Public Enemy is. He made each one of them a star by working with them
Yeah.
and elevating them. He was the
great.
best.
He was.
And he was also like, he was great in the locker room. I remember one time he's in the locker room, guys are like, oh, I hurt. I think I broke my shoulder. I'm not sure. He goes, well, did you rent a car? I was like, what is, come here, come here, come here, come here. He bring me around. Listen, when you go to do a wrestling show, you rent a car, you get the insurance. If you get hurt, you drive it into a dadgum stop sign, and they'll take care of your injuries. We're like, what? And that was Terry Funk. Get the insurance, drive the dadgum rental car on a stop sign, and whatever hurt you that night, they'll fix it for free.
That's actually really, really brilliant when you think about it, though, isn't it?
And it's very ECW.
Yeah, if you're going to pick anything, the story that epitomizes ECW, that one is just, quite frankly, incredible. I wanted to talk because we've actually got coming up on the show in a week or so. We've got Francine coming on. She's coming on the show here.
She's the best. And by the way, when she comes on, will you do me one favor?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to tell her this. Just say, is it true that Sandman got you off the pole?
Sandman got you off the pole. All right. Okay. I'll ask
It
her.
drives her crazy because every time we do group interviews, Simon always says, I got her off the pole. She was a pole dancer, and then I got. Not, of course, that wasn't true, but it makes her crazy when you say it. And if you say that to her, you'll get a great reaction.
I will get. I will definitely ask that question. I've written it down now. But I want to talk because a bit about Francine and Beulah and people like that in ECW because a lot of people like when people say the women in wrestling they always talk about the women's revolution and 2012 TNA and I sit there and go no, Francine was getting power driven through a fucking table in '92.
Right. By the pit bulls, like, boom. Like, she would
Yeah,
take off anytime, anywhere. She was amazing. She is the queen of extreme,
she is.
really. Her and Luna, but mostly I'd say her because Luna was only there for a while.
Yeah,
Luna and her testicular claw that she applied to Stevie Richards to win matches. First time I met Luna Vachon,
yeah,
we're in Florida. Nancy Sullivan, Nancy, the woman, her
yeah.
name's Woman, calls me, she's Todd, come here. I walk in, this is Luna. She's working for us tonight for the first time. I extend my hand and go, Luna, nice to meet you. She reaches up and grabs, she never met me before. I'm paying. She grabs my balls and goes, nice to meet you too. I'm like, what? Who would introduce himself to someone like that? Luna Vachon. She was hilarious and crazy. Sherry Martel. I mean, we
Yes.
had some working women, not like they are today. In all
No.
fairness, we're not doing EO Sky stuff. They were like you go like,
Yeah.
who can do that? And it's amazing. They're as good as the guys. But back then, they did their role and they were great. Francine was marvelous. I love Francine to death.
She was crazy. Again, I always go back to it. Anyone ever says to me about the women's wrestling, I go, they're great. Go and watch this.
Yeah, any bump there was.
Yeah.
And she's like this homemaker with like a now the two kids. She's like the home mother, PTA, yada yada. Then we go to conventions and she sneaks outside and hides in the bushes and puts back on her old whore outfit and trampy as she can be. And we go off to the conventions and do our thing. Her kids don't know, her neighbors don't know, no one knows that she's been wrestling. It's hilarious. But you can tell her I'm the one who told you to tell her about get off the pole.
I will. I will tell her. I've got a next, literally Wednesday next week. I'm speaking to Francine, so I will. I will
Awesome.
definitely say that to her. I'm actually another guy we've got coming on in January, actually, and I'm thinking maybe I don't say underrated because he's not necessarily a name that a lot of people would. If I said the word ECW, he wouldn't necessarily be one of the first on the lips that I'm going to say. But he was really important for me to get on, and that was CW Anderson, and we've got him on in January. I'm really looking forward to it because I think he was a bit. He goes a bit under the radar a little bit, but he was really important in ECW.
He came along actually as we were like
Yeah,
passing. He came along
exactly.
as I was leaving.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, he's working. He's still working. He's still. God bless him.
MLW. Yeah, he's in MLW now at the moment. Still doing it. But yeah, I can't wait to have him on as well. It's going to
He
be.
tells the story how Paul said to him. He checked with Arn Anderson about using the name Anderson, and he never checked with Arn Anderson. And so she did. You sure? He goes, "Oh yeah, I talked. Don't worry about it. I talked to him." And gave him the gimmick, and he took the gimmick. But no, he met Arn. And I was like, I don't know anything. I don't know what you're talking about. It's like what? There was Sandman when we used his son Tyler.
Yeah.
The whole angle with Sandman's kid.
Yeah.
Tyler again. Yeah, Tyler's like 6'4". Little Tyler. You're a drunk. I'm regular. That kid is like
Yeah.
he's a man, and he's bigger than Sandman by a lot. He's huge. A great guy. Shit. What were you talking about? About the train of thought.
I was talking about CW Anderson and about
Ask Anderson. Before we use Tyler, Paulie says to Sandman, which I didn't even find out till like much later, is I'm in contact with Macaulay Culkin. We're gonna bring him in to be your son. That's Paul. I mean, Paul will just fucking say anything because that's who he is. Is he brilliant? He's fucking brilliant. Can you write a wrestling angle better than anybody in the business? 1,000%. Can you believe a word he says? No, not a word, but brilliant. So same with Macaulay Culkin's coming in. Like, that's dude, Macaulay Culkin's not coming in. Stop. Get a grip. Think about who's talking to you and what they're saying. He's like, you're right. So he brought his own son in, and his son did great in the angle as a kid. He was like 5 years old.
Jeez, that was crazy. I remember that as well, and that was a.
We took a lot of heat for that kid being in the ring too.
Did
A
you?
lot. Oh yeah, and rightfully so. You got a 5 year old kid there. Did a bunch of people, men bleeding all over the place, and like his mom's being treated like a whore, and she's like
Yeah.
a junkie, and like it's like it's a lot for a little kid to try to absorb and not be turned out to be a really fucked up kid. He wasn't.
Very true, actually. Yeah, I didn't think of it that way, but now you've mentioned it, and now you put it in that context. Indeed, I've got a question though. One of my wrestling promoter friends, and we work with a couple of promotions over here in the UK, and they said, if you had ECW today, who would you choose from, say, the pool of wrestlers that there is now to be the forefront 5 or 6 wrestlers from today's wrestling that you'd pick in an ECW in 2024?
Boy, I really need time to think about that one.
Yeah, I should have said that before it started.
That's tough because really I only watch the WWF product. To be honest with you, I really don't watch any
Yeah.
AEW. I watched it when they first started at the beginning, and I said I can't believe these guys are not selling a triple somersault off a ladder to the floor and then get up and then do another spot. I said, what kind of bullshit is that, guy? He said, it makes me angry. It reminds me of the reason I got in the business when I got mad because Ultimate Warrior was throwing up and his Papa Shango put a
Yeah.
spell on him.
Yeah.
And that's what made me want to get into wrestling because I want to watch shows that I liked. I couldn't stand it. I grew up watching Bruno and I believed everything I saw. It looked real to me. So my product was real, not only visually, but real. I mean, they went through the audience and they hit each other. They're 2 inches away from fans. The fans know if they're faking it or not. They weren't faking it. They're killing each other with those chairs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, see those matches. I mean, who does that? How do you find this believable? But the guy just jumped down 20 feet and didn't sell it. How do you not sell it?
Got worse.
The whole credibility of the business.
It does. And there was one recently, actually, where a guy got tombstoned off the ring apron onto the stairs, and that wasn't the end. They carried on for another.
That's not a finisher. Are you kidding me?
And I think about 2 weeks later, Randy Orton got power drove on SmackDown. You thought he had died. Like levels, right?
Done right.
That's
done right. Randy Orton's so talented.
There's one you definitely would have had him, right?
If I was starting it with anybody, Randy Orton would be first.
Yeah.
Randy Orton would be first. He's amazing, that guy. Incredible. He really is.
He's brilliant. I love Randy Orton. He can just, he's still now to this day. I tell you another one. I know he was in the other ECW. That would be good. Would be Punk.
Punk would have been one of us actually. He just did by like he was just ready to come aboard basically when they went out of business in 2001.
Oh, okay.
I actually used Punk once when I was booking for Jasmine and Me, their 3PW show. I booked their shows for about a year and a half, and Punk was on one of those shows that night. I saw right away this guy had something. I know it. Yeah. But yeah, he would have been a great ECW guy also. Yep.
Yeah, I would have had him. I suppose from a wrestling aspect, I don't know. Like would Seth Rollins would work? Would he have worked? I don't know.
Seth Rollins is so talented; he'd work anywhere.
True. Yeah.
Guys are at a level where they're like, yeah, there's nothing that I wouldn't do to have a guy like Seth Rollins or Randy or those guys they're a level above all the rest of us.
I'll tell you another name that I would have loved to have seen in ECW. Obviously, the time he's a bit older. Well, he's older now. I can't remember how old he is, but he's Josh Alexander. Have you ever seen him work from a wrestling perspective? If they ever was TNA or anything like that, he's a guy from a pure wrestling perspective. He's like their new version of Kurt Angle, and he's just. I would, if I was starting a promotion, he'd be one of the ones on my list. But I've never.
Yes, I don't know him, so I can't comment one way or another. But yeah.
Yeah,
I'm sure if you're saying that, I believe you. Obviously,
yeah, definitely, I mean, brilliant.
Both WWF and WCW didn't believe that anyone who wasn't a giant could get over.
That's right.
So we got Eddie Guerrero and Dean Malenko and all those guys so over that the fans are crying when they left our federation. Crying for the match. Are you kidding me? These are hardcore fans. They're going blood, table, blood. And then they're crying. These guys are leaving. They never use the table or any chair or any of that stuff in their matches.
No.
So all of a sudden, Eddie's a champion. Benoit's a champion. Rey Mysterio's a champion.
Yeah.
Guys they wouldn't even hire, they find it like, oh, we just didn't know how to use them.
Yeah.
I see how to use them now.
Yeah, they did. That was my other point I was going to make quickly was that you all had the hardcore aspect to ECW, but you still had fantastic wrestling on there as well. And you picked the guys there that was there, the Malenkos, Benoit's, the Guerreras, the Rey Mysterios, and Psychosis and people like that. I remember watching Rey and Psychosis go at it on an ECW show once. Phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal.
That was, I remember, yeah, it was November to Remember.
Yeah.
1995.
Yep.
And one other match, and Paul's like putting the list of ideas. And then you and Fonzie, I go, we're not following Rey Mysterio and fucking Psychosis. Are you insane? They didn't do it. Their finish was like a moonsault from the top of the stage.
Yeah.
I threw a tape. I said, we're not following that. And we threw our asses off for like a year to get to this match. There's no way we're following that. All right, now we're following Salmon and Scorpio against the Public Enemy, which was still a great match, but it's humor. They're down to dance off. We'll follow that. And that's what we did.
Yeah, I think that was wise. Definitely a wise choice. As we start to wrap up, Todd, there's a few more bits I want to get on through. One of them is, I told you before, I'm going to give you a list of names of ECW. We spoke about a lot of them, to be fair. And I just you can just tell me the first few things that come into your head when I mention a name. I don't know if Sean Oliver played this with you or not. I can't quite remember. But if he did, I apologize. The first one on the list was the one that we spoke about, that's Shane Douglas.
Shane Douglas was I was the guy I thought, I cannot believe you're bringing this guy in, Eddie. He's a dynamic dude. He got shit on in Philadelphia here the last time. It was him and the Freebirds. They cheered the Freebirds, and they never did that before this. They booed the dynamic dude. They hated him, Johnny. You can't be serious. He goes, dude, God, watch him be a heel. I go, Shane Douglas be a heel? Where's he going to bring a skateboard out and hit through his head and skateboard? He goes, trust me. I said, all right, I trust you. You're my booker. I trust you. Where was he right?
Yeah.
Who was Shane talented? Oh my God. And give him the microphone. Oh my God. He was talented.
Yeah.
He do it all. He still can. You just can't shut him up.
I just, why do you think he never, say, made it in the WWE or that? Did they not know how to use him? Did they just not believe in him enough? Because he's there. He was talented.
The WWE, he had hurdles. He had the clip to go through.
Yes, he did.
And they made sure he wasn't going to succeed. And when he left us, I was not happy about it. But look, I wanted anybody who could get a real payday. I didn't care if they left us. I fought to the tooth and nail with Paul about Sabu leaving. I said, this guy broke his neck in our ring. Broke his freaking neck.
Yeah.
If he can go make $200,000 a year instead of $30,000 he's making now, how can we dare to try to stop that? He goes, that's disloyal. I go, no, it's not disloyal. We fought up hand, tooth, and nail about Sabu. Anyway, I always felt like if these guys can make it, I mean, a real living, more power to them, and God bless them. I'm glad I had any part of that. And I thank them for what they gave me. That's where he and I were very different that way. But in terms of Shane, he went there to give him that teacher gimmick.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it was like 4 or 5, 6 months later, I called up J.J. Dillon. I don't know what to do with him. Where Shane would come in for one night. I said, J.J., can I talk to you about Shane? And before I said another word, he goes, you want him back? You want him back? You can have him. You get him back right now. I said, wait, what? He's under contract. No. You want him back. We'll get, I was like, yikes. Whoa. Did he have heat over there? I said, yeah, I want him back. The guy's great. They came back there so fast they never hit us.
Wow, that is. I think that's a talent that they could have. He could have. Well, he was a star in ECW, no doubt.
Yes, and he should have been because but there were certain people there who were make sure that didn't happen, and they had the power. There's a group of 4 or 5 people had the power there over everything, and they made sure Shane did not get over.
And interestingly enough, NWA did invite Shane to their 76th anniversary because they done it at the old ECW.
They did not invite him. He told me.
Oh, so they got so. Here's the interesting thing. So obviously Shane said that, Billy Corgan on the anniversary got the microphone and said we invited the person that threw the title in the bin, and he didn't show. So there we go. So it's
I can't believe you said that because I called Shane up. I said, dude, how are you not going to be part of that big show in 75th anniversary in Philadelphia? It's a natural angle. It's going to be
yeah,
bringing you through the bell. I mean, come on. There's a natural there. You were
yeah.
the order champions. He goes, they never called me. I
Wow.
said, me, dude. I said, that's money for them.
Yeah.
In fact, I contacted, it was a Lou D'Angeli who worked for who's the guy with who was working with Corgan. I thought it was Lou D'Angeli, but I'm not sure. I
Oh,
said,
yeah.
who played the sign guy Dudley?
Yeah.
I said, why didn't you tell him to bring Shane in? Because you and I would have come in and made let him beat the shit out of me for what we did, whatever. There was money there. It's a
Yeah.
money, easy money angle.
That's
Instead, they
really
broke Blue Meanie to go, ooh,
yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, and the announcement that wasn't the announcement. They was going to make an announcement, and it wasn't an announcement, and it was kind of I don't know. But yeah, I was surprised. I'm because they did it. They did say actually on. I think if you go on, if you ever watch NWA, and you can see it on the 76, he does say that he offered a chance to bring him in. He offered Shane the chance to come here, and he turned it down.
Well, according to Shane, that never happened. Because I was going to say to Shane, why don't you call these guys? There's got to be a good payday in there for you.
Yeah,
You know, a lot of all these guys pretty much. So I said, look, call them up, get you do it. He goes, nah, they didn't contact me. I'm not contacting them.
wow, interesting times. Well, that's interesting. Another name on the list of, and we've spoken about him a lot, but if you had to describe Tommy Dreamer to us, how would you do
Who's
it?
covered that?
Yeah, we've covered
He
that,
came
so I'm not
as a
gonna.
pretty boy,
Yeah,
left as a superhero. Yeah, it's all good.
we've done all that. We've done the Sandman. We've done Francine, Raven, New Jack. They're all here. But the final question for you, Todd, and it's a question I did pre-warn you about at the start of the show, and then that was before we actually even hit record, and that was I want you to give us your ECW Mount Rushmore, 4 or 5 names that basically put ECW on the map.
Terry Funk,
Yeah.
Sandman, Sabu, Shane.
And you forgot yourself as well on there because it worked for you. It worked for you. Oh, one other guy I forgot to figure. Joey Styles.
Joey Styles. God bless Joey Styles. Walked into the locker room. Here's this nerdy looking guy with the big glasses sitting there in his freaking underwear. I've never seen the guy before in my life. I said, excuse me, dude. He goes, yeah. I said, the fuck are you doing in my locker room in your underwear? Like, who are you? He goes, I'm Joseph Bonzi. You were Paul told me to come down and try it. So he didn't tell you. I go, nah, he didn't mention you to me. He's right. I'm just gonna try to do the announcing. I said, all right, relax, calm down. Like easy. Put your pants on. He's, that was my introduction to Joey Styles. Joey Styles is awesome.
Yeah, he was great. I love Joey Styles. A great commentator. Brilliant commentator, by the way.
Find anybody who can do a show like that by himself without a color commentator.
That is it. And that was what was so unique that he done the whole shows on his own without
And
any.
you don't realize it until you're like, wow, that
Yeah,
was impressive. You know?
that was
By the
incredible.
way, Valor, do you know Valor Wrestling?
Hmm.
VALOR, Valor.
Yeah, I've heard of it. Yeah, yeah.
I'm their new commissioner.
Okay.
Follow them. They're going to grow. There's people from ECW who are going to infiltrate this federation. They're going to grow their wrestling in a lot of different countries right now. Check out their Facebook page or their website. I think it's a Facebook page mostly. These guys have something that they don't even realize they have, and they're your neck of the woods, not mine. But I'm just telling you, check it out.
Valor. Okay. Interesting. I will do that. Before we go to Todd, if people want, is the book still available to buy?
It is still available to buy. I think they haven't gone paperback yet. They're still in the hard cut. But yeah, books available to buy. I appreciate that. Go Todd is God, Amazon, any bookstore. They're supposed to be available over there like a year ago. Whether it is or not, I think I know. I have no idea. But there's some stories in there. Can I give you one before I go?
Absolutely. Yes. Yes.
All right. One story from the book is a Sandman story. We stayed in the same hotel every month. ECW Arena shows, which are big shows every month. Me, Sandman, Two Coat Scorpio, and Bill Alfonso, the four of us were best friends. And oddly enough, still are. 30 years later, we still talk every week. 30 years later, the four of us. Okay. We're sitting there drinking, smoking, hanging out in the hotel room. Sammy goes, yo, is this room 815? We look at the door, we go, yeah, why? He jumps up, runs to the corner of the room, and starts pulling the curtain up. The carpet up. I said, dude, what are you doing? I gotta pay for this shit. Why are you ripping the hotel up? What's the matter with you? He says, wait a minute. Pulls up and pulls out 8-bag of Coke. I go, what? How the fuck? Now we've been staying here every month. He put it there 6 months before that and forgot for the last 5 months he did that. He was flying back to Utah back then, and he didn't want to take it with him, obviously. So he put it in that under the carpet and just remembered. And he goes, Scorp, follow me. Okay. Scorp goes with him. Me and Fonzie trotting right behind him. We can start walking down the hall of the elevator. There's this giant planter, like an urn. He Scorp, help me get this. And the two of them together go, the lift is bigger, and he goes, I've got another one. He had planted 8 balls of cocaine all over his hotel. We're falling on the floor. We're laughing so hard because he's so fucking insane, and he's such a fucking amazing friend. That, yeah, he's pulling out bags of coke all over the hotel, and he'd stash it. I'd forgotten 5 months in a row that we'd stayed there. He forgot he'd done it. And the room number 815, it made him go, "Oh yeah, 815, that's it." And it spurred the memory. That's just one story from the book. There's a lot like that.
That is incredible. What a great way to end the podcast in a typical ECW fashion. That is, Todd. It has been. I could talk to you for hours, man. But obviously I could. But it's quite late over here in the UK. I'd love to have you back on and do some more stuff with you.
Appreciate it.
It would be great. Guys, you can buy the book. It's on what's called a Kindle. You probably can't see it, but a Kindle version of his book is on Amazon. Go and get it.
There's an audio version too with Sean
Oliver.
doing the.
Sean Oliver, yes, he's on. He is doing it. It does say that on there. So get it. If you haven't got it, get it. It is. I love it. I've got it somewhere upstairs. Actually, I haven't read all of it yet. I'm going bits through because I love wrestling books, all biographies and stuff like that. And something like that with ECW. If you're an ECW fan, go and get it. And I've just looked up Valor Wrestling as well, funnily enough, and I'm going to take a look a bit more into that as we over this evening. But Todd, it's been awesome. Thank you,
brother. I appreciate you very much. Thank you
so much, guys. Don't forget, coming up on the show, like I said, we've got Francine and we've got CW Anderson as well. So you ECW fans are in for a treat. Check out the back catalogue, which does include obviously Shane Douglas, and yes, he talks for 3 hours. It's one bit on there. As long as we've had obviously Eric Bischoff, Vince Russo, a lot of people on the show. Just go and check out the back catalogue of the show. But Todd, it's been great. And well, until we get back to a land of extreme guys again, he has been Tod Gordon. Todd is still God, ladies and gentlemen. I have been Adam Cousins, and you've been watching the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast. Till next time, everybody, buckle down, stay safe, goodbye.